Hi everybody, today we're going to be multiplying fractions using the distributive property. So far in class we've used the associative property and now we're learning something new. So at any point in your homework, if you're confused and you liked the way we did it before, do it that way and just write me a little note that said, I'm not comfortable with the distributive property, but I tried my best and I used what I knew to get to the right answer. As long as you write me a little note, I'll be okay. Because remember, the point is to get a right answer or put any answer down that we can and to try our best using whatever strategies we know. Okay, so let's get started and do our best to fill in every problem. The first thing that we need to know about the distributive property is that we'll be distributing a whole number to a mixed number in order to solve it. So for example, we have 2 4/3 times 2. And so what we're going to do is be distributing the whole number 2 to the 3. Okay, so we're going to do that first. And so what that's going to look like, and we're going to use our parentheses to show that we're going to do 2 times 3 first, and then do the fraction second and do 2 times the 4/3. Okay, so we're distributing that 2 to the mixed number to split it up and make it a little easier. So that second step in the parentheses would be 2 times 4/3. Okay, so you see how I distributed that whole number? Okay, whole number first and then to the fraction. And then we're going to solve it out, and it's just solving each step. Okay, and I'm going to go right down in order. So 2 times 3 is 6, so I'm going to write the 6 right underneath. Okay, 2 times 4/3, we're just multiplying at the top. If you would like a reminder of how to multiply fractions and by whole numbers, I sent out a link already from Number Rock on YouTube. They are an amazing channel. They do some great work. It's a free shout out right now to Number Rock. We watch them all the time. Look up the video or follow the link that I sent via Remind, and it would help you tremendously. Okay, but it tells us to multiply at the top. So 2 times 4/3 is 8/3. And then I drop that plus sign down and add them together. But if we look, 8/3 is an improper fraction. We can't have that. We need to convert it to an improper fraction. To a mixed number. So the song tells us to multiply at the top, divide on the bottom. So this is going to be divide. So we're going to do 8 divided by 3. Okay, this line in the middle, that fraction line, actually means divide. So I'm going to have 8 divided by 3. Okay, 3 fits into 8 twice. Okay, 2 times 3 is 6. And then I need to get to 8. So I have 6, 7, 8. So I have 2/3 left over. So now I have 6 plus 2/3, which would be 8 2/3. That is a distributive property. We're going to practice it more together. Let's get started. Draw tape diagrams to show 2 ways to represent 3 units of 5 1/12. Our verb in this problem is to draw and to show. What do we have to draw? We have to draw a tape diagram, and we're showing 2 ways to represent 3 units of 5 1/12. And the numbers we have to use, we have to do 2 ways of 3 units and 5 1/12. Okay, so I have to show essentially what I'm going to be doing is 3 times 5 1/12. So when I look at my tape diagram, I need 5 1/12 3 times. So I can do this 2 different ways. I can make 3 boxes that each have 5 1/12 in it. Or I can split my whole numbers and my fractions, and I can separate them to group them together. So I can do all my whole numbers at once or all of my fractions at once. So that would look a little bit like this. So I would have 1, 2, 3. So I'd have 5, 5, and 5. Okay, I pulled out the 5s. And then I would have my 12ths left over. And I have 3 1/12ths. So 1/12, 1/12, or 1/12. So the next part of this problem asks us to write a multiplication expression to match the tape diagram. So, to match each tape diagram. Ooh, that's important. So here's what I can do. I already have it up here for the first one. 3 times 5 and 1/12. We learned a song from Number Rock, which if you head over to their YouTube channel, they are amazing with cool songs. And one of the songs that we learned is multiply the top, divide on the bottom. So if I have 3 times 5 and 1/12, 3 times 5 is 15, and then 3 times 1 is 3 halves. 3 halves is actually an improper fraction, so I would change this to 16 and 1/2. So that's the first one. Okay, but I can also distribute my 3. So I can do 3 times 5 and 1/2. Okay, but I can do 3 times 5 and then do 3 times 1/2. Okay, what I did was I distributed the 3 to the 5 and the 3 to the 1/2 and just did them separately. If I do it that way, I have 15 plus, whoops, 3 halves, which would be 15 and 3 halves, which when we change it would be 16 and 1/2. So either way, we get 16 and 1/2. But we can just do our straight multiplication, or we can distribute the whole number to the whole number first, and then the whole number to the fraction. So we have 2 choices. The next problem says to solve the following using the distributive property. So that's the one we're going to, in this case, 5 times 4 and 1/6. We're going to distribute the 5 and the 4, and then give the 5 to the 1/6. Okay, one at a time. So the first step I can do is to just break this up a little bit and rewrite it. So I'm going to rewrite 5 times 4 first, plus 5 times 1/6. I will do that second. Right underneath, I'm going to line up my math sentences. 5 times 4 is 20. I'm going to put that directly underneath the parentheses. 5 times 6, multiply from the top, divide from the bottom. 5 times 1 is 5 over 6. Okay, that's not an improper fraction, so I don't have to change it. Now, there's nothing else to do but to add this whole number and fraction together, and 20 plus 5/6 equals 20 and 5/6. Sometimes there might be an extra step if this fraction is an improper fraction. We would have to change it before adding, but this time we didn't need to. Finally, let's try what we've learned in a word problem. Sarah's street is 2 3/10 miles long. She ran the length of the street 6 times. How far did she run? First, I'm going to do cubes. C stands for circle the numbers. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to find all my numbers and my labels. So 2 3/10 miles. And she ran 6 times. The U in cubes is underline the question. How far did she run? B is to box the verb or the action word. So I'm going to find a word that tells me, am I going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Sarah's street is 2 3/10 miles long. Nothing there. She ran the length of the street 6 times. There's my action word. I'm going to box it. Okay, that's going to tell me I'm going to multiply. Evaluate anything else that's important. Sarah, doesn't matter who it is. The length of a street. Okay, nothing there is extremely important. How far did she run? I think we have all the important pieces. So now I'm going to pull out my numbers. What did I circle? I have to use those. I'm going to copy 2 3/10 and 6. I know I have to use those two numbers. I boxed the word time, so I know I have to multiply to find out how far she ran. Now I'm going to follow the steps that I've learned and use my distributive property. So I'm going to use 6 3/10 first, and then do 6 times 2. Okay, if you could do it the other way around, the associative property tells us that it doesn't matter the order that we go in. We could do it in any order and we'd still get the right answer. But I'm going to do this way. 6 times 3/10 first, and then 6 times 2. And now all I have to do is solve. 6 times 3/10, multiply from the top, divide from the bottom. So 6 times 3 is 18. Keep the tenths. 6 times 2 is 12. Notice I put the answers to the parentheses directly underneath the parentheses so I know what matches and what goes together. Now if I look at 8/10, this is an improper fraction. I need to change that. So my next line is going to be simply changing that. And I'm going to divide, which is that part of the song. Multiply the top, divide from the bottom. So 18 divided by 10. 10 fits into 18 one time, and I have 8/10 left over, plus 12. So 1 plus 12 is 13, and 8/10. And then I need my sentence. Sarah ran 13 8/10 miles. I'm going to bring in the label that I circled. So Sarah ran 13 8/10 miles.